Hey, all, Brad here. Going to go over a Sinistar complete board set with power supply. This set came out of a new in-box game that was just opened up here in 2024. Pretty impressive, amazing. The quality of this stuff, I mean, it's brand new. Uh, as most of you know, over time, things like electrolytic capacitors and ribbon cables just don't hold up over time. Since we never even powered it up, the decision was made to pull these boards, have me go through them, make sure everything's rock solid, replace all those parts that we know are affected by time, and get it back in the game before testing it out. So I'm going to go over everything I did here with you right now. MPU here. First thing I did, the original AA alkalines were still in this board, and there wasn't much damage, but it did tear up the battery holder. So I did have a real nice one I had pulled off an original Williams board back a while ago, so I installed that one. We don't use alkalines anymore. These are AA lithiums, 1.5 volt, and these things will probably last 10 to 15 years. No worry about them ever off gassing or corroding. There's no alkaline in them, obviously. So these things are definitely the way to go. Back here on the board, we've got a tantalum cap I put in, replaced an electrolytic aluminum can one. This basically is what we call soft start. This allows the voltage to come up on the board before the CPU is pulled out of reset. Got new filter caps for the 12, plus 5, and minus 5. These are all Nichicon, a little higher capacity original. Did put on a new Molex header here for the power. I changed anywhere there was power. I put the new square pin headers on, and we decided to leave the round pins where they're just signal level stuff. So, again, we're trying to keep this all as original as possible since it was a new in-box game. The ROM board back here got new ribbon cable, new electrolytic caps. Again, the Molex header with the square pins here. We had some labels, just the adhesive failed over time. I re-adhered on the special chips and a few other places. This board as well, here's the original EPROMs. So these are the game ROMs, and then this one down here was a sound ROM. We swapped those out. We've got some modifications that really enhance gameplay. Some of the difficulties enhanced. Cinemax actually did the work on this, and we put the AMOA Sinistar logo that was used at the show. It's got the blood dripping. This has the plume effect on the thrusters. Also has the pause mode for home play, which is great. You get a phone call, you need to step away for the bathroom, you're on a run, you can just hit the player one start and pause the game where it's at and then come back. We don't really like doing that where these things are on location, because if a kid or somebody puts it on pause, the screen isn't moving, so it could cause an issue with the screen burn type thing on the CRTs. But IO board, new ribbon cable as well, new electrolytic cap, cleaned up the round Molex pins here, just oxidation over time. Rock solid there. Here's all the old parts as well, so returning everything. It was all pretty much new, but all the capacitors, rectifiers, ribbons, all that stuff in there. Back here's the speech board. I replaced a aluminum electrolytic with a tantalum, pulled all the EPROMs out, cleaned the legs, new ribbon cable, soundboard, all new Molex, new bridge rectifier. Pulled the fuses and tightened up the connections on those. Those are friction fit, so they do ease up over time. So I wanted to make sure we had a good, solid connection there. This is the new EPROM. Originally, the Sinistar, when you press the test button over here, nothing happened. So again, Cinemax made some modifications where now it tests the sound from the digital to analog converter, as well as it runs through all the speech tests. So when you press the button, you do have to power cycle after you run the test. Which is standard on all Williams games, but that works now. And then I did a separate video earlier on the power supply, but I did go through and change all the Molex headers, all the electrolytic caps, all the bridge rectifiers. There's 3 of them, minus 5, 12, and plus 5 is the big one. And I had a really large heat sink that kind of matches the other one. This is typically a common failure mode is these large bridge rectifiers. They get hot, so this really helps dissipate the heat. The heatsink back here with the 2 power transistors, got the new silicon sill pads underneath them. And then I did swap out the connector here. Originally it had the IDC insulation displacement connector, and we did find that the yellow wire wasn't staked down properly, so that either would have caused the game not to run or had an early failure for sure. And we've got the Trifurcon pins in here, so they're touching on 3 sides. Also added a little 10-turn precision potentiometer where we can adjust the 5 volts and dial it right in. So everything's really solid. We'll go through a little gameplay here and show you what we've got on the test bench. I do have a remote here, so we'll power it up. That's the rug carpet pattern, they call that. That's basically doing a self-test on the RAM. All systems go. Goes right into a tracked. I'll let it sit here for a minute so you can see that AMOA logo. There it is. And you'll see it's got pretty Sinistar looking. And then this is a normal track mode. So I'll go through and coin it up. I hunger. We'll hit start. And you'll notice when I hit the thrust, you can see the plume that normally doesn't exist in most of the games. They originally programmed this in, but they didn't have room in the EEPROM. So what Max did is we sacrificed some space for some of the self-test for the monitor. Most people use one of the TPGs when they're repairing monitors anyway, the test pattern generators. So you don't really need those modes in the test screen. So we freed up that EEPROM space and used it for that. So you can see she's playing great. And it's had over 24 hours on the test bench running, so I'm highly confident she'll be solid for a long time. And I also want to show you the pause mode. So anytime you're playing now, if you hit the start button, goes in, it says paused on the screen, and it'll sit here until you hit it again. You can resume exactly where you left off. So she's good to go.